Councilman Mark Whitaker is about to become a convicted felon. Today, a judge affirmed guilty verdicts on 3 forgery charges, which a jury handed down in July.
The judge also approved the jury's sentencing recommendation of a $2,500 fine for each count. 13 News Now investigative reporter Laura Geller joins us now with more. Laura.
Well, guys, Councilman Mark Whitaker tells us there was no forgery in this case, but a jury of his peers and a judge now disagree. Now Whitaker waits for the paperwork, which will make the convictions official.
Councilman Mark Whitaker's family has stood by him throughout this entire trial.
I stand here honored to be in a tradition of those who have been wrongfully convicted.
They stayed by his side as he addressed reporters after the judge sentenced him on 3 forgery charges.
That's what our history shows. Whenever black men like myself stand out like we do, we become a threat. And this is not unusual.
These charges involve the credit union for Whitaker's church and a development project the church wanted to pursue. In July, a jury decided Whitaker forged a contractor's signature on financial documents. As soon as the order affirming those verdicts is signed and entered in court, the conviction is official. State law says Whitaker would automatically be suspended from his city council seat when that happens. The councilman told reporters he still plans to be at the next council meeting.
I will continue to serve in my capacity as long as it is legal for me to do so.
State law says a convicted felon can't run for office, but Whitaker's attorney tells me there is still a way the councilman can run for re-election in just a few weeks.
He is eligible to have his civil rights restored immediately, which means he is eligible to be elected to office.
There's no word on how long the restoration of civil rights process will take and if it will be complete before Election Day. Whitaker tells me he also intends to appeal his conviction. Laura Geller, 13 News Now.